I'm Sharif's communications lead and team leader at Men's Share Listening Group.
And I'm Sharif as well. No, I'm not. Go on, carry on.
And today I'm with Trevor.
Yes.
And Trevor
It's all very serious
has
today.
been a member of Men's Share for how long?
Oh, I think I get my year-long badge this year.
Year long already.
Yeah,
Wow, that's
yeah.
gone really quick.
Yeah, yeah, I know. Say it like it was a good thing. Yeah, it seems like I enjoyed it at some point.
Now,
Yeah,
Trevor is
yeah.
one of our more eccentric members, and in a good way, but
I like to say creative and artistic.
creative and artistic. Yeah, I'd go with that as well.
And eccentric.
So today we're gonna. It's a Christmas edition of Bring Your Shit, but Trevor has a very interesting story of his own, but also how he arrived at Men's Share and what Men's Share has given him over the last year. And this is essentially a very informal discussion with Trevor about his journey. So Trevor, thank you.
You're welcome.
Happy Christmas to you.
Yeah, happy Christmas to you as well.
Nice. I guess I'm just going to start at the beginning, really.
Okay.
Your journey to Men's Share. I know it started from a particular point in a particular place. And are you comfortable talking about initially what we know of your dad?
Yeah. So my dad decided to take his own life 2 years ago, and it was a big shock. But what was an even bigger shock was that I wasn't the first one, because I was thinking about it before him, and I was in a real mess. In a way, the trauma from that and being thrust into a role like in the family that was a bit more responsible. I had a wake up call that I needed to sort my life out. However, at the time, I was smoking a lot of weed, drinking a lot. I had a liver complaint. I wasn't sleeping at night. I was sleeping till about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And the only thing that I did was I used to go to a Crawley community thing because I love football, and I met someone there who said, like, go to a bereavement group. And then at the bereavement group, I met this guy called Daryl, and then he was from the Citizens Advice, and he told me about Sean and Men's Share. So it's funny, like, all these little connections and weaving how somehow it got through to me. And yeah, so I was in a really, really bad way. It was a really, really bad way.
So you
I had no purpose, no direction in life whatsoever. I just didn't give a shit, and I was right at the end of my tether. And when I went to the meeting with Sean and Daryl, in the back of my mind, it was like, if they don't do anything, they're not going to do what my dad did.
You interestingly said that you were considering taking your own life before your dad took his.
Yeah, suffered from long-term depression, and I think the drugs and the partying just really took a toll.
What took your dad to that point? Are you ever aware of what?
Yeah, well, he had problems in relationships. My idea about relationships was just avoid them. And I was very much a hermit, and as far as sort of getting close to people, whatever, wasn't really bothered about that. Didn't trust anybody. That was probably a big thing. When my dad died, he left a laptop with like his life story on it, and I remember reading it, and I saw like sort of some of my problems coming out, like a generational thing that my father hadn't sorted out his shit, and I needed to, because it was very obvious what happened if you don't sort your shit out. It's or whatever.
So do you think
he gave me a gift?
So do you think it's genetic? In some ways,
No, I think it's behavioural. I think it's just, when I was a kid, I used to watch my dad and copy his behaviours because I used to model him. And I think also a lot of the trauma that I've experienced, I'm now re-experiencing as an adult.
Okay.
And so it was a wake-up call. It made me think that it's already, depression has already taken one member of your family this year. Do you want it to take a second? And that's the truth of it. Like, you can call it relationships, you can call it money issues, you can call it whatever, but ultimately it's this big dark dog called depression, and that's what's killing people. That's what killed my dad, and that what would have killed me if I hadn't have found men's share.
And so
This is a nice, happy, light episode, isn't it? Come on, keep going.
but okay. So, but in terms and respects of your reaction to that, and as you demonstrate, you threw yourselves into alcohol, drugs.
Yeah,
whatever.
almost from, I stayed sober for the funeral, and then I just went on a massive bender for a year. A lot of weed and a lot of strong alcohol, and then my liver broke in the February afterwards. And I went for a scan, and they said you had to give up everything. You had to give up drugs, you had to give up alcohol, salt, fat, all the foods that I liked, everything. And that was a bit of a wake-up call as well. I think, like, during the journey, there's always like people who, what I call angels. And when I went to the hospital, there was this woman, and she was really rough with me. She had a scanner, and she was scanning my liver. It was really painful. She was going, "Oh, I just need to get in here." And I was just looking at her, and I just thought, this is what it's come to. And she said to me, "Look, you've got a point now. You have to make a decision. Like, you can either carry on as you are, and you'll get cirrhosis of the liver, and then we'll take your liver out, and then you'll be a mess, or you can make another decision." And I think that's when I thought, okay, I need some help. I didn't know where that was going to come from, but I needed some help at that point.
Why do you think men choose substances to?
Don't want to feel. Want to block out the feelings. They want to. Well, I wanted to block out the feelings. There were difficult feelings that I couldn't deal with. Call it numbing out. You do it in all sorts of ways. You do it with porn. You do it with masturbation. Do it with, and I did. And sometimes it's hard for guys to admit that they have a problem with these things. What I call dopamine chasing. So you've got your normal drugs, like, which give you a high and a hit, but watching YouTube videos, watching porn, masturbating, chasing women, it's all the same thing. It's like trying to find that dopamine, that endorphin that makes you feel good because your life circumstances are a mess. And I call it ostriching. It's where you put your head in the sand.
You just want to forget.
And it's like, nothing's going wrong. And if I just sit here, it'll all go away.
And you just want to forget. And you just
And
want
it doesn't.
It doesn't. So do you find you exacerbate your problems even more when
Yeah.
you come out of that quick fix?
Yeah, because there's always a crash, and for me, what I experience is a lot of. I'll go into a little bit of the chemistry, cortisol. So what I'm looking for as a recovering addict from all these things is a high. I'm looking for the endorphins. I'm looking for the dopamine. But once you deplete, once I'd done that for 5-6 hours a day, or whatever my particular habit was, I'm depleted. I'm done. I'm wasted. I'm like, the cortisol is running in my body. It's accentuating my stress. It's stopping me from breathing. It's stopping me from sleeping. And then I get stressed, and then I want more of the drug or the drink or the porn or whatever it is. It's a cycle you can't get out of unless you have help, really. Like, because it doesn't go anywhere but down. It's just, you feel shameful because you're doing all these things. And then when you feel that shame, you need to have something to stop you feeling the shame, because that's what the difficult feeling is the shame.
And do you think...
And like a sense of failure as well, like, I failed. I've failed. I'm 50, whatever. I mean, I've thought that since I was 40. I've failed since I was 40. You know, no house, no girlfriend, no job, or jobs that I keep getting fired from because I think I'm like, you know, the dog's bollocks.
So,
and my manager doesn't, you know, it's like all those differences. Yeah.
so you're not only dealing with your own personal issues, you're dealing with societal issues as well, right? That are just compounding everything on top. And your need to want to feel that you're part of a functioning society, you're a functioning individual.
Yeah. Everything went wrong for me when they gave me a smartphone. That's when it all went wrong. Full access to porn, full access to gambling, full access to shopping. Any addiction you want is on that phone, 24 hours a day. And you don't have to go to a bookies, and you don't have to go to prostitutes anymore. It's all there, you know. And it takes a lot to give someone who's got trouble with self-discipline and control, for them to stop, you know, getting into nonsense on a phone. So I've often thought part of my problem is I haven't thrown my smartphone in the river, because that would help.
Well, we can see, and this is a completely different issue that we will talk about in another podcast, and it's the issues around social media, but the access to the digital world
Oh, it's
that
brutal.
is giving men access to things that, like you're saying, quick dopamine fix,
Yeah.
not fixing their problem, exposing them to more issues, making them run away from challenging or empowering themselves because they're just losing themselves in that gadget.
Yeah, it's just so false, and you know, like there's part of the addictions that I was suffering from. So maybe we're like when I'm going to a porn site, I might have gone to Facebook first, and I'm looking on Facebook and I'm seeing that, you know, my mates are married or they got kids or they're on a beautiful holiday and thing, and I'm thinking, oh, I'm just such a loser, I'm just such a failure. You know, what can I do? Oh, okay, well, I'll soothe myself in whatever way that possible. And the thing is, my brain it's got two options. It's got like depression and suicide, or it's got let's find you a habit where you don't think so much, where you numb out. You know, so in a way, the brain is trying to look after me. It's trying to help me survive through the difficult thoughts and feelings that I'm having. But what I mean, it's amazing because you with your friends, you know the backstory of their life. And then if you looked on Facebook, you'd think there's nothing going wrong in their life. It's all hunky-dory and lovely. And you think, well, okay, that's my friends, so it's probably the same with other people. But there's huge pressure on social media to, you know, be better than
Competing
you
space.
are.
It's become as opposed
It's just
to
advertising to your mind that you're not good enough, really.
it's become. I found it's become a competing space as if before it used to be about sharing a holiday photo or a holiday snap. Now it's look what I'm doing, look what you're not doing, look what I've achieved, look what you have not achieved. And do you think
Yeah.
these things just add to the additional pressures that men feel?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you know, it's been going on for eons through the advertising in the media. That, you know, you have to have the latest car, and you have to have a pretty girl on your arm, and you have to drink an amazing beer. And you know, in the old days when I grew up, it was like you had to smoke a certain type of cigarette, else you weren't cool. And you know, it's like it's just constant pressure for guys, and they you know, it's very hard to release it, because once you get into a cycle of shame, you disconnect, you isolate, and then the isolation is the thing that ultimately brings men to the edge, and to that thought of there's nothing in life for me, because you're now isolated from your tribe. You know, there's a tribe that men want to become a part of, and they want to show that they're men, right? They want that warrior spirit. They want to create something. They want to have a legacy. They want to make babies, whatever they want to make, right? But we're making creatures. And when we stop making, and when we stop creating, and we shut down and we isolate, it's almost over. That's the feeling. That's for me.
Do you think then that's a reflection of your own weakness? Do you think men have been so either conformed or so broken by society's pressures and the situations they find themselves in, and depression and all of that other stuff, that they actually have lost the ability to be able to deal with the situation head on, feel empowered, challenge it, etc.?
Yeah, I think we just lost souls. We've lost. You know, when I grew up, I had my gran and my aunties and my uncles and in a circle, like sort of literally, weirdly in a circle, yeah, right,
Yeah.
in my local town. So we're in Horsham today. We're shooting at my flat in Horsham, and which we'll talk about later because it's an amazing story about how Menshare helped me get from a bedsit where I was doing drugs and drinking and didn't give a shit about my life to a homeowner and DIY and decorating and stuff. But I couldn't do that on my own. I needed some older people to show me what they'd learned. I needed some younger people to show me that there's still some life in life. You know, it's I miss that. I miss that tribe. And I think a lot of men feel like that. They're like, well, where do I fit in? Who wants me? Who wants me? And if it comes with a relationship breakdown or any loss of any sort, like a job. So I lost my job, I lost my career, I had a sickness thing, I lost my girlfriend, and I ran out of money. Okay. Oh man, as a male, it's like you're just getting punched by life. 1, 2, 3, 4, and you're down. And yeah, I did try to get up a few times. I tried to do some stuff. You know, I tried to earn a bit of money, do some business, go back to college, and all that sort of thing. But the problem is when I'm sitting on my own late at night, and I'm thinking, you messed up. You messed up your life, and there's no way out. I think that thought is very dangerous, and I think it's a lie, but it can go two ways. It can go to the depression and the suicide, or it can go to the I need help. So you see, like there's two sides to that.
I feel, even with my own experiences, loneliness is a dangerous thing for a man.
Yeah,
because
isolation and loneliness.
It's the power of this and the ability to control this over all of the dark imaginations, all of the thoughts of failure, all the things, all the punches that you've taken in your life, and all the difficulties. That when you're on your own, if you don't know how to control it, contain it, sustain it, fill it with good thoughts, positive actions, or empowerment, then you're just, again, this is compounding you even more in the circumstance that you find yourself in.
Yeah, as I said before, I think it's a spiral and it goes down, you know, and it goes down and down and down and down. Sometimes you can hit the bottom, and I've done that a few times, hit the bottom and sprung up with some sort of weird momentum. But the overall trajectory of my life, you know, without help from other men, is going down. I can figure it out. I mean, there's a spiritual aspect to it as well. That sometimes when I'm feeling crushed, I'm just thinking, oh, well, there must be more to life than this. You know, maybe there's a faith, maybe there's a God, and you know that's important to me as well. But we've got a spiritual side and we've got a physical side, and we've got to do stuff while we're on this planet, right? So if you feel that you're lonely and you're isolated and you've got nothing to do, well, else you know, it's sort of like, what's the point?
Okay.
Sadly.
Right. Okay.
A waste of space.
Well, we're going to take a break.
Yeah.
And in part 2, we're going to talk about what brought you to Menshare and what Menshare has given you. Cool. Thank you.
Okay.